done.
I mean, during the upfronts in NewFronts, you saw everyone changing their roles a little bit. So the TV guys were talking about how targeted and addressable they could be in the rise of data. And you saw guys like me on stage talking about creating television-like content with the likes of J.J. Abrams and Amy Poehler. I mean, it's topsy-turvy. How do you translate that to your customers and help them diagnose where they should be placing bets?
Well, I think it's about video and it's about content and not discriminating between whatever screen you're going to see it on. And consumers certainly don't discriminate. They watch video and they watch television on whatever device they can put their hands on and wherever they can get the best content. I thought that the NewFront guys and the upfront guys did a really good job of balancing the two. I know the upfront week and the broadcasters, they talked a lot about data and a lot about data metrics, but at the same time, I thought that a continued push into quality programming and still a huge investment behind that quality programming. So I thought everybody found a good balance of the two this year.
Yeah, I mean, that whole translation, what are the barriers, do you think, that, well, let me put it this way. TV's $65, $70 billion marketplace. Online video is about 1/10 of that. What's it going to take to accelerate the money to shift from the $70 billion bucket to the $7 billion bucket? What are the barriers?
Well, I think the money's moving. I don't think that anybody's going to pick up a bunch of money and move it really quickly. I think that the online video space and the mobile video space and the VOD space and all the advanced options, they need to prove themselves in terms of business outcomes, and we need to be able to put measurement behind all of that. So I think the pace at which it's actually moving is pretty quick, but I don't think that you'll ever see a complete fall off where in 1 year 10% is picked up and moved. And if you look back over the history of broadcast and cable, a very similar trend where just over time it slowly starts to go up and TV will slowly start to come down. And you'll just see one aggregated market.
Well, you just mentioned measurement. How do you think the measurement guys are doing in terms of following the users? Are the users way ahead? I mean, what kind of?
Well, I think they're doing a good job. I think that it's tough to stay ahead because I think technology is moving faster than consumers can even move. So I think that the companies are doing a great job. I think the challenge for us is it's a lot of different companies doing that. So how do we put all of those together to kind of create one single source metric, which would be fantastic, but in the time being, look at kind of what's the best of the best and aggregate that all together into one place.
Right. I mean, so much of the measurement is panel focused, but the ad server is kind of like a census. How much do we need to rely on third-party measurement when we can do machine-to-machine data transactions?
Yeah, well, obviously, anytime that you can get real one-to-one data is going to be the best thing that you can get. I just think, given the scale of television and some of the more traditional media, that they don't have that same ability. So how do you balance the two between each other?
Right. I mean, a lot of measurements talking about value. One of the metrics at the moment, of course, is viewability. And isn't that just a measure of value? How do you equate a 15-second pre-roll with a 15-second spot in primetime television versus all the other places you might be able to put sight, sound, and motion commercial?
Yeah, I mean, obviously viewability is really important to us, and we're talking about it a lot in the digital space. But it is about that value and which channel, which screen, which metric can actually drive the best business outcomes for our clients is the ultimate measure. So I don't think that it's about any one single screen or any one single metric. Again, it's about aggregating all of that together and seeing how we can build the best media mix and then drive the best results.
The mix between GRPs and impressions, I mean, is that, how do your planning guys grapple with that one?
Yeah, I think, again, it's a little bit, sorry, I keep using the word balance, but it's about the balance between the two and knowing that you're not going to have a perfect measurement source on any single screen. How do you pick, the best of the best and balance between GRPs and impressions? And then on the back end, when you start to think about modeling this out, what are those tools trying to ingest? Can they ingest impressions? Can they ingest GRPs? And is one impression equal to another impression? And where does value come into that play?
Yeah. So the best of the best. Everyone uses the word premium, right? Is premium just become watered down? How do you guys sift through it all and make sense of everyone claiming premium everything?
I think premium's a word that's obviously been used a lot this year. I think that premium could be very different to you and I. And when, especially in the online video space, but even in the television space, consumers have more control than ever before. So the show, any program, regardless of how many viewers it has, that viewer saw it as quality. They chose to watch that. They dialed into it. So, for us to determine what's quality versus not, I do think that professionally produced, high quality inventory will have be the most likely to draw those consumers in. But at the same time, viewers are kind of choosing what they want to watch. I think Facebook video is a great example of that. It's whatever content you've chosen to put in front of yourself is how you've defined quality. So for us to put a blanket statement over what quality is sometimes difficult.
Yeah, at the annual leadership meeting at the IAB earlier this year, Dr. Jeffrey Cole said, nobody watches crap on TV anymore. And what he was saying is, crap is in the eye of the beholder, I guess.
Right,
if you want to watch something, it's good, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. With that in mind, are there must-buys? I mean, you spend money on all this stuff.
Yeah.
Are there must-buys?
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of parity in the marketplace. I think that, for some clients in some places, there could be something that you really do need to buy. But for the most part, there's a lot of options, and there's a lot of choices that we can make. So I don't personally believe that there are any must-buys.
Are we negotiating right now?
Maybe.
Okay. Other than Hulu, is there?
Yeah, Hulu seems to come out on the top a lot, but.
Wow. I have no further questions.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's switch gears a little. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. So there's a lot of media reviews happening right now. Big brands.
Yep.
Almost unprecedented. What's going on? Why are clients all deciding at once, I should review this? Like, did they not trust the agencies? Or are they looking for a better mousetrap? What's happening out there?
I think that it, much like we all face every day, it's a crazy time of change. There's a lot going on in the marketplace. There's a lot of things to consider, and it's a good opportunity for our clients and potential client partners to think about, how do I manage all that change, and do I have the right people, and am I seeing the best of what's out there? Just like we meet with lots of vendors and partners and measurement partners and thinking more broadly than we've ever thought before, I think they're doing the same and making sure that they have the right people to take them into the next 5 or 10 years of this really rapidly changing and exciting media space.
Yeah, I mean, the traditional guys are now saying digital first. The digital guys are saying mobile first. A lot of people say social first.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're doing a new business pitch, is there a point of view you take on how to wade into the brave new world, into these waters?
I think that, the first thing we want to do is listen to our clients and what their business challenges are, think about who their consumers are, and then figure out the best way to attack that in media, and how can we help them drive the best results. I don't think, the agency-client relationship is about a partnership. So I don't think it's about anything first. I think it's about what is the right mix for that client. But I think that it really starts with defining who their consumer is, and then start going from there.
I mean, speaking of the agency world, there's a lot of publishers who are trying to get into the creative agency business by having in-house creative solutions being offered. Is that a threat to existing business models?
Well, we do have some creative agencies in the network, but I think that it can be helpful. I think that, with the amount of content that viewers are consuming and on all the different screens, you do need to be a little bit more flexible in how you address those consumers and ensuring that you have the right content in front of it. So I think that people who know their product really well, it can be really helpful to get some of that feedback, whether you're actually creating the spot or not. Up for debate, but I do think that having that creative line of sight as part of your media process is really important.